Challenger.
Welcome, guys and gals. It is me, Rana, and today is a glorious day. Well, for me at least. You see, I will be rich. Rich, I tell ya. Let's look at the challenge first, shall we?
I'll cash out you $100 right now. $100 cash out bet. The challenge is, show me a picture of Earth that's not CGI. I want to see an actual picture of the Earth that's not CGI compressed, that's not generated by computer image stitched together, not Photoshop. I want to see a real picture of the Earth from space. The first person that shows me a real picture of the Earth, I'll cash up you $100.
Okay, I know what some of you are thinking, but $100 is a lot of money for me. Don't knock it. And in all honesty, I didn't know there were $2 bill. Anyway, I'm here. Trey, here you go. Picture of the Earth from space. I'll be expecting my reward soon. Can you send it by PayPal? But wait, what were the stipulations? This is my local grassy pitch with a football goalpost and stuff. I'm here to test out the panorama mode of my new second-hand budget camera Sony A58. Now what you're seeing is not a video. A 58 can only do 1080p. What you're seeing is a very wide photo that I panned across in my video editor. Here I would like to point some obvious stuff out. At one point we can see my car head on. If we know the distance between the camera and car, the exact focal length and camera details, finally the actual height of the car, we can calculate exactly how much pixel the car would occupy in our final shot. That is because the shot is not compressed or stretched in any way. This is true for every object we see in view. Now my question to you, is this real or fake? I would say it is completely real. Everything that we saw exists or existed at that time. Nothing has been scaled or compressed in any way. Every calculation would check out. I have no issue with this photo. During this whole shot, the camera took a bunch of shots and stitched those together to make this final image. Oops, I did say stitched, right? My point being, stitched photo does not automatically means fake. Instead of taking one photo, you might choose to take 9 photos and then stitch them together. It would give you a much higher details. Well, but the stipulation completely throws any such photo out. Thankfully, my presented image is not stitched. Moving on. I would like to address composite. With my little experience in photography, to me, it means blending multiple images to create the final image. So it is not exactly a stitch. Here is a picture I took of my dad before he passed away. The background was a hospital with sad ambulances. So I did some work to put a different background. This to me is an extreme composite, as it's really a cutout overlaid on top. This can be very subtle at times with gentle alpha blend. Hopefully we can agree with that definition. If I was actually debating someone, this is the part we would have to agree on a definition before I would move on with my actual point. But this is a luxury we don't have on a video. Moving to cameras. The first commercial 4K video footage shot in space back in 2016 used a Sony Alpha 7S II. They also used various models of Nikon and even iPhone and iPad at times. Sony cameras have a feature called DRO, which stands for Dynamic Range Optimization. In Nikon, similar feature is called daylightening. In this mode, one shot is taken, then the camera analyzes the contrast and technically gives us an image with optimal brightness and gradation. Some love it, some don't. From DRO, we moved up to HDR, or High Dynamic Range Imaging. In this mode, the camera takes multiple photos and fuses them together for the final shot. Now, from our earlier definition, doesn't HDR sound like a composite image? Yes, it is absolutely real. Just a couple of shots using different exposure. But technically, still a composite. Back to my presented picture. I have to be brutally honest. I have no idea of the actual settings. From EXIF data, I can gather it was taken with a Nikon D5. I have the aperture, focal length and such. And yes, all these values can be easily faked. But they don't tell us what effects were applied. If the image is HDR or not. Oh dear. Then we have the simple fact of life is always a compromise. It is what we get and what we're willing to pay for it. Take my camera for instance. I have put a 32GB SD card in there. According to the manual, I can put up to 6,300 photos or 1,400. Huh? This is the compromise. If I choose to save my files as JPEG, then I can have the maximum number of photos. But if I save as RAW file, I have the least number. Obviously, as JPEG is what we call a lossy compression, so data have been thrown out of the photo. Where RAW? Well, RAW image file contains minimally processed data from the image sensor. RAW files are named so because they are not yet processed and therefore are not ready to be printed or edited. Here, several things can happen. For example, in case of Sony, if the photo is saved as JPEG, it will already have DRO applied. If the file is saved as RAW, this calculated value is embedded within the RAW file. Same method applies to other digital SLRs. Trust me, I do have a point. Before getting to that, quick question for you, dear viewer. What does "it hasn't been photoshopped" means to you? It is funny in a way, where in UK we say hoovering something, which really means using the vacuum cleaner. As Hoover was the most popular brand over here, it became part of the lexicon. Similarly, Photoshop, it was developed by two brothers, who then sold the license to Adobe. Since then, it became the industry standard for photo editing. I have been an avid fan of Photoshop. In fact, I should have my purchased copy of Photoshop 5 somewhere. But Photoshop is not the end-all. There are other similar software, from completely free GIMP. Then there used to be a software called PaintShop Pro, which I think then got purchased by Corel. Now, because I'm tired of Adobe licensing, I have moved to Affinity Photo, and I'm really happy with it. Just like Hoover, Photoshop now became synonymous for photo editing or photo manipulation. So, is it only manipulation when done in Photoshop? Or is Photoshop just a tool for that manipulation? Which means, when our camera is applying noise reduction, it is manipulating the data. It is done at camera level, but it is still manipulation. All the scene mode I have in my camera, every single one does the same thing in one way or another. One accentuates the skin color, another makes sunset look prettier. These are all technically manipulation. Even converting the raw data is manipulation. Any kind of correctness, from lens distortion to white balance to color grading. That is my point. In an absolute meaning of manipulation or photoshopping, we are doing it every single step of the way. So, not all Photoshop means fake. Sometimes they are though. Again, to my presented photo. We don't know if de-lightening was applied. We don't know what other manipulation was performed within the camera or during converting from RAW to final JPEG. But from an absolute definition, some manipulation has been made. I'm not going to win the money, am I?
Here's the catch though. It can't be CGI. It can't be computer generated. It can't be compressed. It can't have multiple layers of pictures stitched together. That's retarded. Let me get a full picture of the Earth.
Oh damn it, I forgot the stipulation of the complete Earth. Let's see my presented photo once again. As we can see, it is the porthole that is really blocking the view. If our photographer moved any closer, he would have missed part of the view and get a glare or reflection. Moving back would just give more on ISS internal. Damn, can I change my answer please? Pretty please? Here is my new answer. Now Trey, wait. Before you call foul or call it composite, it is not. This photograph's official NASA designation is AS17-148-22727. Harrison's kit used a 70mm Hasselblad camera with an 80mm Zeiss lens to take this shot in 7th of December 1972. To clarify where this composite claim may have come from, there is another shot taken just before and nearly identical to 22727 is the one with designation AS17-148-22726. The widely published versions are cropped and chromatically adjusted from these two original photographs and known as the Blue Marble photo. NASA has also applied the name to a 2012 series of images which cover the entire globe at relatively high resolution. These were created by looking through satellite pictures taken over time in order to find as many cloudless photographs as possible to use in the final images. As thus, 2012 Blue Marble is a composite shot. But the one taken back in 1972? Something horrible was happening at that time around the world that was captured. A cyclone that ultimately killed 80 people in India. This cyclone is known as Tamil Nadu cyclone and is visible in that photograph. Okay, I will stick with this. But technically, some manipulation has been done, i.e., this image has been photoshopped, at least chromatically, meaning it has been color corrected. Damn it! So Trey, do I win the money? Or is this composite / stitched / CGI / photoshopped to you? If so, I would sure like to know which one. Well, that would be all for this video. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this content, we all know what to do. Like, comment, and especially if you can subscribe, that would help me out a lot. If you have liked this, trust me, you will like my other contents. Wherever you are, have a safe day. Signing off.